This is Rodney with Landscaping with ZebraScapes. We have Beau here again.
All right, let's jump in. So, okay, we had talked before about, ZebraScapes brand and, kind of the evolution of it.
Yeah.
And I really personally, I love the story. Now, break it down a little bit. Where did it start? And then walk us through the evolution of where ZebraScapes is today.
Well, actually, it started by not wanting to. I didn't want to own our own company. I had so much fear of anxiety about it. So, like our last episode we had about education and everything. I have no background. I didn't even finish high school, believe it or not.
No, I do believe it. I do believe it. I mean, entrepreneurs, that's the way that it usually goes, But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So we started grinding it, and the landscaping part of it. Going door to door, knocking on doors when the 07 happened, 08, and knocking with the minivan and going from there. And we started getting enough work where we had two vehicles. And we were called TK Haley Yard Care, Trinity, Kylie Haley, our three daughters.
Oh, cool.
And 3 to 4 years later, we brought a daughter in under foster care. We ended up adopting, and she did not like the name. Her name wasn't on that card. So we thought about it long and hard, and through talking to our pastor at church, we prayed and came up with ZebraScapes. Big reason was branding. I wanted people to see the truck from a distance. And I had a lot of criticism at first, but now it's been the biggest game changer in this business of marketing, branding.
Yeah. What's interesting about it is that, two things. The ZebraScapes brand, you had mentioned, you got a lot of criticism. As I think about it, it's like, well, what good idea in the beginning didn't have criticism? You know what I mean? Because otherwise, then you're just going along with whatever traditionally that business did. So it's either the leaf and the shovel or the grass or the sun for landscaping brands, right? So that's usually what it was. You were like, you know what? I'm going to switch it and I'm going to do something completely different, and I'm going to go zebra, which is great. It's not just an animal. It's like one of the most, identifiable animals out there.
Yeah.
And, you made that your brand. And like I said, it's funny to me thinking about it, about how, most really good ideas, most game-changing ideas always get the most criticism.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
It's really interesting.
It is.
So, it makes sense to me that you got criticism. I would have never criticized it. I think that, I don't know what the criticism was, but I think the only
cartoon.
Really? Because I would have thought, well, what is it? Is it some kind of like zoo thing?
Yeah.
Well, but then that would be the only thing, but at least I'd be talking about it.
Yeah.
And so now on that point, do you think that was the main reason you were able to kind of set your brand apart from other competitors in the area?
Oh yeah. We were small then, and people would say, man, I see your truck everywhere. And I'd say, well, you just see the 3 trucks driving around in circles then, because you just notice it more.
How many trucks do you have now?
Well, probably 25.
Yeah. So they're just, because I see them all over the place now.
Yeah. So, but they see and then when we went that route, we have a little ranch out there in Williamson Valley, and I didn't like horses. I Googled it, and we got a zebra, and then that was on magazines and everywhere. So that was big in marketing.
That's cool. Now, what's interesting to me as I think about like separating, your brand or anybody's brand apart from the competition, no matter what business you're in, I think one of the things that I've seen, and I've been able to like really surround myself with some of the most successful people, and one of the greatest differences between them and other people in their space is not something really technical. It is really simple. It's actually the amount that they talk about their business, the passion in which they are always talking about their business. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in the grocery store talking to somebody. You could be on social talking to somebody, on podcasts, meeting with clients. You're just never not talking about your business.
Yeah.
And so some people may think that's overwhelming or selfish or whatever, but it's like that is one of the biggest things that separates people is like they're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And they just can't stop talking about it. And how it helps people. Right? Not just about, I'm so passionate about my business because look at all this money it made me, but look at all these like case studies of people who I've been able to help and get through hard times and whatever it may be. But I think that is something that's really cool about it.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about, through the growth, like you talked about, the other one is you're just trying to make ends meet, put food on the table for your family, and then then you got the stress and the burden, and you're making sure you're not upside down. Yeah. Then when you get to the point where we're very blessed where we are today, it's how can we impact employees. And I love hearing stories about employees just saying how much they love ZebraScapes, and they're talking about the family culture, like, what we're going to do for the 4th of July parade, or how we're going to be in the community. And that's where you start multiplying your growth, is when employees buy into the vision.
Oh, 100% agree.
So that's, one thing we hear at ZebraScapes is quality, integrity, efficiency, teamwork, and relationships, and we build our core values off that. And that's what really, we believe, separates us also from our competitors, is for us to be someone to be a lead here. If those there got to fit their mold and their who they stand for. If not, this ain't a great fit for them.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Yeah, so we drive hard on that here at ZebraScapes, and how we can improve better. We're also big and being a part of their life and trying to make their life better. And we even started paid for a Dave Ramsey thing to all our guys, like, hey, because a lot of them, they weren't raised in maybe a split family.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, let's get you on a Dave Ramsey app. Let's help you save, that we can put money away, that you can own a car and you can own a house.
Yeah.
And not just pay and put the money and say, hey, I really don't.
Yeah.
You improve their lives, they're going to improve your business.
Right.
And their relationship.
Have you seen that has been significant in like the quality of work, but also the culture within the company?
Well, yeah, when they see that you really care about them, oh yeah, for sure. They want to be more bought in.
Yeah.
When they realize that, hey, trust me, years ago, I was all about business, trying to get bills paid and just focusing on making sure. And then I had a setback and like, hey, there's more to life.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the last podcast is, you start prospering more. People around you grow, and then everybody starts growing, and a lot less stress.
I think that it also creates a more fulfilling environment, for just even within yourself. Because as the founder, as the owner, as the person who has put everything into this to make it happen.
Yep.
Which is something that you and I can relate to. Yeah, absolutely. It at some point becomes more. Right. And so it's like, well, if it's just always about the grind and always about, what I money do to make it happen and everything else, if there's nothing more to it, then why am I doing this? Like, it becomes a real issue. And so I think that doing that, you find fulfillment in the work itself.
For sure.
Right. And because you know how to make a dollar, right? You know how to go out and do the dollar, but now it's like, well, how do I leave more of an impact? And then there's like legacy on top of that. But just the fulfillment side for me is just like, wow, when you can do something for somebody and it's just out of the goodness of your heart, you're like, I know something that you need, I'm going to give that to you, and I hope that you do great things with it, and I don't want anything from you.
Yeah.
That I think is really, really special.
Impactful.
And because it's like, it's a win-win if you think about it that way. Some people are like, no, I'm going to do this thing for you and I expect this. And it's just not the same feeling.
Yeah.
There's a yucky feeling with that.
You're right. The purpose is wrong. You talk to people, football players that win the Super Bowl, and they want to commit suicide afterward.
Absolutely.
Because they fulfilled only for themselves.
Or another good example of that is like astronauts. Like there was a group of astronauts that went to the moon for, it was like early on, and they went there, they came back, and it was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how will it get better? Because you've just peaked. And so I think that, I do think that there is a bigger conversation there around, okay, well, you have people around you it's nurturing, and it's a place where that's your home and that's your safe place. And, as long as they're good, then everything else is going to work out and be fine. I think there's that. But, some people do take it pretty far. If you go to the moon, you come back, then what's next?
Yeah.
So I that's a really extreme example, but I think it goes along the same lines.
It does. But but when you invest in other people in the community, when you watch someone grow, you can just see them grow, and you see as they grow, it's a lot more fulfilling, like you said.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
For sure.
So true.
So you have a marketing company yourself. What's the best thing you found for companies that really excel?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, only because it's something that it's done wrong a lot, in my opinion. And
what's done wrong?
The small parts of marketing that people do, the things that actually make a difference, right? And so what my answer to that would be is people forget the story. They focus too much on the product or on the service, and they forget that there's a lot of different people who offer those same products and services. But what certain people don't have is the story. And so if people focused more on their story, I think that they would get so much further along so much quicker. Because again, like, you have a great story. I mean, I'm sure that there's lots of pains and heartaches and struggles along the way, just as every business owner has faced. However, most business owners and most businesses like to focus on just the highlights, focus on just the good things, all the success, not the failure. And I think that to inspire other entrepreneurs, I would never have done this whole thing if it wasn't for me hearing stories about failure. Yeah. Because the moment you come across like that little bit of failure, and you don't know it's coming, or you don't realize that that's part of the game, you're gonna be like, whoa, that's not for me. Instead, you're gonna be like, no, I expected this, I anticipated this to happen. I know I just need to overcome it. So as far as businesses, small things that they can do, that was the question, right? Okay, so small things that businesses can do, something that costs no money, something that they can easily do right now, right, is to take out their cell phone, put it on themselves, and talk about their story. That is an incredibly underrated thing that most businesses do not do. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons why people don't do that. I personally think that the biggest reason why people don't do that is insecurity. Yeah, I agree. Is that when they see themselves on the other side of the phone, they're like, I'm not doing this. Right? Yeah. They don't like the way they look. They don't like the way they sound. They just don't like any of it, so they don't do it. Yeah. Right. Then the other aspect is not understanding what it can do. They're like, well, if I just make videos, then my business will grow. The simple answer is yes. The more complicated answer is yes, but here's all the things that there's variables to it, right? Variables like, are you able to communicate well? Are you a good communicator? Or do you stumble all over the place? Can you not finish a sentence? Yeah. I'm like that sometimes, right? I just cannot finish a sentence. Now, if you are that kind of person who struggles to do that, written text, right? Write out your story. Yeah. People love to read. There are some people who love reading and some people who would rather do anything else than read. Yeah. So that's why platforms are great. Like Facebook is a great place to write things out. Because there's an older demographic on Facebook that would probably rather read than listen to or watch a video that has rap music and different types of things, right? TikTok, maybe YouTube Shorts, maybe Instagram Reels. It's going to be a different demographic. So to come back to the question, if you are a business owner, if you own a business that you want to grow and you don't want to break the bank doing so, then start telling your story. How did you start a coffee shop? How did you start this landscaping business? How did you start a media company? How did you get your doctor practice up and running? Yeah. How is it this great success? How did you do those things? Start telling the story, and the good and the bad. Yeah. Right? I agree. The story, because when you talk about failure, at our table, we have 4 girls. Yeah. And we'll go around the room. My wife, Denise, started this and said, where'd you fail today? We want you to celebrate your failures. Because if you didn't fail, you didn't learn, you're not going to grow. Yep. So, and you sit there and think, where did I fail? And sometimes you don't want to hear it. It's like, no, I want to hear. Yeah. And the bigger the failure, the bigger the celebration. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. So to help people to say, hey, I'm not, even like Elon Musk, he said that he wasn't expecting the car to work. He made I wasn't planning on this car, Tesla to work. I was planning on just trying something. Yeah. And failure is when my Trinity, my daughter, she switched a couple jobs and she read some book on millionaires, and they said every millionaire, I forget, will fail. I don't know what, 13 or 14 times. She goes, so I still got another 10 to go before I become 10 more failures. Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. Think about, I love having this conversation because number one, it's not talked about that often. Yeah, for sure. Usually it's just, here's how I got to this place, but you don't get the whole story as to how somebody got there. And so, for me, that was a huge thing for me early on, was just talking to people. That's another thing is talk to other people who have done something that you would like to do. And so that's the biggest thing in my business I did not do. And most don't, only because they fear what somebody will think of them if they reach out, right? So for example, if I have somebody in my life, or if I have somebody who I see, wow, that person's killing it in the media space, in the branding space, they have an agency that looks like it's killing it, and I'm like, I should reach out to them, because I know in my business there are certain areas that I struggle in. I should reach out to them and say, hey, how did you overcome these challenges? How did you get through these little issues that you had? Because that's where I am. I think that is the thing that will get you along faster, but something that nobody ever does because they don't want the humility. They don't want to have the humility to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Will you show me? They want everybody to know that they have it all figured out, right? And I say that with such confidence because that has been me over and over and over. I'm like, especially as an early entrepreneur, like I was like, I want to make sure that from the right out of the gates, people think I am just the most successful person in this space, right? And the reality is like everybody knows you're not.
Yeah.
Right? You're early on, and so like for me, it's like, okay, well, if I know I don't know everything, then I need to have the humility to say I'm going to be the person who asks the most questions, so that I get to be the person who is the most educated in as many areas of my life as possible. Because if you don't ask, you'll never know. You'll just always be the person who pretends they know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that person.
You're not going to grow.
Right. And it's a good point.
I had the other day, we had this winter is kind of unique. And I was talking to my competitor and I was talking about business and I go, how are you? Yeah, we're busy. We're doing good. He goes, how about you? I said, man, we're slow. I mean, we're out about 1 or 2 days. And he put his head down. He goes, yeah, I'm completely dead. I laid my guys off. I didn't want to tell you. I'm like, just be open. Like, why not just
see?
And I just told him like, hey, I'm not going to be too proudful to tell you that we're barely have enough work to get by. Yeah. And he ended up putting his head down saying I had to let 2 guys off. It's like,
that's the reality though.
Yeah, it is reality. But
that only came out because you were transparent and had enough humility to say, well, even from somebody who just got done saying, well, we're so busy, we're this, you're like, well, we're struggling, we're here, we're there, we're not as busy as we would like. And then that is the thing that says to him, okay, well, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. And the point is just everybody goes through these struggles. Every business has these highs and lows. Yeah. I also used to be like, well, I don't want to ask them because I know something I don't want to tell them about business. It's like, like the last one, if I can make them better, we're both better. Yep. So why hide
gatekeep
what you learn?
Yeah, gatekeep the information. Yeah, I mean, that's a big one too. Like that's a tough one, but at the same time, it's exactly, I mean, I think that's a mentality thing. I think if you're the kind of person that's like, well, I'm going to gatekeep all the information and I'm not going to share with anyone, then I think that you're probably insecure. And again, I think this goes for everyone. Everyone I think has gone through this, is going through this, whatever the case. But I think if you are that person, then you're probably insecure about the success of your business in the first place. If you're the other person that's like, here's everything that I know. Yep. I'm gonna give it to you. Then you're confident in the fact that no matter what, you're gonna go get yours. Yep. Like you're going to achieve your level of success no matter what. Yeah. Because you're just that
confident.
You're just that much of a maniac when it comes to your business, And so, I just think that that's a huge differentiating factor when it comes to businesses is, are you more of a maniac than your competitor? Like, it just really does come down to, are you crazy? Are you a crazy person?
Yeah. I love challenges. I thrive on challenges. That motivates me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why you're doing this, right? I mean,
you're right.
We were just having this conversation around, you're not a podcaster.
That's right.
I'm not a podcaster, but we have podcasts to do our best to spread the message as far and wide as possible.
Yeah. To spread the message, coach and teach. And so our big thing is education, customers from turf to everything they want to know. And we're going to break that down as the time goes on to educate them and you can relay this message. Hopefully it's huge, helpful, and benefit that they understand the challenges of life and they're not alone. We're there with them.
Yeah, I love that.
So, Beau, like all your experience at in other businesses, what were some of the big marketing things that you've done or helped a business to go to the next level? You had any stories of taking I know this is off the cuff, but taking a company to the next level that you've seen happen?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have 2 really good stories that I always like talking about. As one was a coffee shop and one was a dentist, and both I still work really closely with. I'll start with the dentist. So I was working with this dentist, telling the story, right? Talking about his story, talking about certain things that are in his field, certain things that make his business different. And then we just kept doing that. We added some funny, humorous stuff as well as some serious stuff as well. And he actually had a family come to him. and say, hey, we are switching dentists to come to you. And the reason we are doing that is because my kids want to go to the famous dentist.
Wow. What made him famous?
Our social media. So
Really?
yeah, I mean, obviously he's not famous.
Yeah.
But the perception was that he's out there. He has this big brand. He's this person that they see all the time. He's the person that they see on the screen. And so, that made him famous in that family.
That's cool.
And so that was the reason that they completely switched, and went to him. The other one with the coffee shop, this was really cool. So it's really hard in hospitality to track and really analyze, okay, where is business coming from, right? That's the biggest thing when it comes to social media marketing.
And marketing,
what's the
for
ROI,
sure.
right? That's the biggest question, is what is the return on my investment with social media? And I'm not gonna lie, it is a challenge tracking that, because it's like, well, what do you expect? I mean, do you think that people are going to come in and say and announce that they're here because of social media? It's not going to happen. So there are certain ways that you can make it happen, but with this particular case, that is exactly what happened. There was and this, for some reason, just like I say, for some reason, like, well, they're doing a good job. We're doing a good job with this place. The over and over, like, weekend after weekend, there's a group of girls or a group of friends or whatever come from Phoenix, and they go to this coffee shop, and they say when they get there, like, they'll talk to a barista, they'll talk to the owner, and pull up videos.
Really?
And say, we had to come try it. Like, we love watching your stuff, and a lot of it is humorous. A lot of it is funny. Some of it's storytelling. So it kind of depends on the brand, how deep you go into the story. Yeah. Sometimes you just go deeper into the people, right? You just like really dive into the people at that particular business. And so that was another really cool one, is that we just keep getting these little groups of audiences coming from Phoenix. And it's always from Phoenix for some reason. Like, it's like,
no,
we're like,
kidding.
Oh, we're from Chino and we decided to pop in, or we're from Flagstaff and we decided to pop in.
Really?
It's always, people from Phoenix. And then on the back end of social, you can kind of look at the analytics and say, okay, well, where are the people that we're reaching? And it breaks it down by state or by city. So like, you'll see that some people are coming from Gilbert, from Phoenix, from Prescott, obviously, if we're in Prescott, but you're able to see, like, actually, it's kind of crazy. Phoenix is the number one group of people that we're reaching, even over Prescott for that particular business. And so those are two. I mean, I have a bunch of different really cool stories and stuff, but those are two that kind of stand out.
That's cool. No, social media is a new. I mean, it's been around a bit, but it's getting bigger, and a lot of it is educating people and understanding what they have that they need. I think they need.
I also think another thing too that's been kind of interesting to watch happen is that the more you talk about the business, the more boring the business becomes. Now, let me just explain. So the more you talk about the fact that you have coffee, the less people are going to be interested in the coffee. The more you talk about, like, pretty much anything else, or it doesn't really have to be talking, the more content that you create that's not saying, come buy my coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Because people know you want them to buy your coffee.
Yeah.
Like, you're the owner, you're talking about it, they know you want them to come, right? So now it's like, well, how do we make it to where they want to be a part of that, a culture of, that is where I want to spend my time, that's where I want to spend my money, I know those people, I trust those people, I relate to those people on some level.
So anyway, I appreciate it, Beau. It was great catching up again. Thanks for tuning in to Landscaping with ZebraScapes. We hope you found today's episode helpful and inspiring to your landscaping projects. For more tips and resources, and to learn how ZebraScapes can help you transform your outdoor space, visit our website, www.zebrascapes.com. Until then, happy landscaping.